Today we're taking a deep dive into something that many of you have asked about, and that's my approach to racing. Now, this might seem counterintuitive to some, but patience and strategy are the core of my racing style, and I wanted to take a moment to respond to one of the recent comments that I had, and I think it represents a common viewpoint of my community, or at least of most GT drivers. So here's what one of my viewers had to say. Digit, I respect and admire your skill and knowledge in sim racing, but you do this annoying thing. You waste time behind the car when you could have passed it. Instead of overtaking, you take the slipstream, but then give the car a bump and someone else overtakes you. Every second counts in racing, so why you not pass the car in the first time you get the chance? And I think this one is a valid observation, and I get why it might look like I'm holding back, but in reality, every decision I make during the race is a part of a larger plan. So in this video, I'm going to break down my approach and explain why sometimes holding back can be the smartest thing you can do in a race. So let's start with a core question. Why do I take my time with overtakes? Why not just go for the first chance to pass? The ultimate answer is about mentality. Sim racing, much like real-world racing, is supposed to be balanced. And in that balance, patience plays a huge role. So patience allows you to plan, evaluate, and make sure your moves are calculated and safe. This is what happens when you are in a rush of an overtake. You lose time, or worse, you crash out. By being patient, I'm avoiding unnecessary risks and setting myself for a cleaner, safer passes later on in the race. So my goal is to keep the car on the track, minimize mistakes, and wait for that perfect moment. It's all about thinking 2 or 3 corners ahead, not just reacting to whatever happens on the track or in that moment, because you are always looking at the bigger picture. I know this approach may sometimes be boring, I know it, but I'm trying to make sure that I get the most out of every race in a bigger picture. So what is the real strategy and why am I actually doing this? Now let's dive into the strategy behind my decisions. Why do I hold my position even if it looks like I could have actually gone for the overtake? The answer is that racing is just not about being the fastest guy on the circuit. It's about managing your race, both your car and your competitors. And it's a huge part of understanding of how to actually use the slipstream effectively. So for those of you that are actually new to sim racing, the slipstream or drafting is when you follow closely behind another car using their slipstream to reduce the drag of your car. This allows you to maintain your pace without burning as much fuel or overheating your tires. In GT, this approach can give you a chance to keep up with the faster car in the front, and well, basically that car is breaking up the air for you, so you have less air resistance. In some races, especially when you're at the front or battling for a podium position, timing is everything. And in one of my recent races, the top 3 of us were running very similar lap times. So rather than constantly fighting and letting the drivers behind catch us, I stayed in line and used the slipstream to maintain mine, or well, we can call it our pace. The less we battled, the more distance we were putting on the rest of the field. If I've gone for every single chance to make a move, we would have been slower. We were just slowing each other down, and the drivers behind would have caught up. By holding back, I saved my tires and waited for the final laps where the pass would have made the biggest difference. And again, to clarify, this strategy isn't 100% reliable and it doesn't always work. But what is better? Finishing in the top 3 consistently, being 5 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack, or pushing early and having 10 drivers fight for the podium? Or, well, actually, I'm gonna take that first one. Tire management is something that is often overlooked, especially in sim racing, but it's a crucial part of the game. So why does it make such an important part of my strategy? By staying behind another car and using their slipstream, I can save my tires. Tires wear down over the course of the race, and once they start losing grip, your pace starts to drop. the longer I can keep my tires in a good shape, the better position I'll be at the final few laps of the race. It's all about thinking ahead. If I push too hard early in the race, my tires will degrade faster, and I will be easily overtaking at the later stages of the race. But carefully managing my tires, I can maintain a strong pace and be ready to attack later on in the race where it really makes a difference. So this makes an even bigger effect in longer races, where it's incredibly important to save the tires since the stints are longer. And of course, with the current physics that we have, it's more important than ever. And it's all about risk management and choosing your battles wisely. One of the biggest parts of racing philosophy is risk management. Racing is exciting, I know it, and I get it, I really do. There's always a temptation to dive for a pass, especially if you get a good chance for it. And the most famous quote of all time: if you no longer go for the gap that exists, you are no longer a racing driver. And sometimes I have a feeling that this quote is, well, it's kind of overused and it's not looked with the correct angle. But in most cases, the risks of a constant battles far outweigh the benefits. We can even have a look at some real-life incidents that ended pretty bad, if you ask me. All of them went for the gap, but realistically, there was no gap to actually go for. So every time you engage in a battle, especially in tight corners or at high speeds, you're increasing your risk of something going wrong. Whether it's a collision or a spin or simply losing a couple of tenths or even a couple of seconds, the cost of these mistakes is very, very high. And I think that's exactly why I pick my battles. I don't need to win every single corner, but I do need to make sure that I'm there at the end of the race. Clean, well-timed overtakes reduce the chance of incidents and allow me to focus on building my strategy in the race. So if you have a look at most of F1 races these days, most overtakes are done with DRS. Okay, some might say that this actually killed racing, but imagine you're an F1 driver. What would you rather do? Go with an overtake with a DRS or just go for a dive bump? But I think the DRS is much less risky. So in general, why would they risk it and go for a dive bump when they can actually overtake on the straight? So how does it all come together in the end? Racing, especially in sim racing world, is much more about strategy than it is about speed. You can be the fastest guy on the track, but if you're not managing your car, your tires and your risks, you're just not gonna win consistently and you're gonna make more mistakes. The bigger picture mentality is what sets successful driver apart. So by focusing on the long-term strategies, patience, tire management, slipstream, and picking up your battles, you can consistently put yourself in a good position or position to actually be on the podium or even win races. And ultimately, this is what racing is about. But to make all of this happen, both drivers in a battle need to realize this and focus on the long-term goals, which, well, to be honest, in most cases isn't possible. So if I wanted to wrap this up, racing is a lot more than just going full throttle all the time. It's about making smart decisions, being patient, and managing the race from start to finish. And just to clarify, I'm far off being the best and the cleanest driver out there. But at least I try. I try to assess the situation in the best possible way and make it work in the end. So as I said before, nothing is 100% sure. And there is no strategy that will make you 100% successful in everything you do on the track. But I try to analyze over 500 hours of my coaching footage and created a simple to follow online course that will at least improve your odds and make you faster over time. If you want to have a look at it, it's going to be down in the description of this video. And of course, you can use this coupon to get a 15% discount. And I really hope that this breakdown gives you some insights in my racing mentality and why I sometimes hold back when it seems like I could have easily gone for that overtake. But I sit back. And in the end, if you found this video useful, please make sure that you hit that like button or might even subscribe to my channel. So yeah, I think that's gonna be about it. So once again guys, thank you very much for watching this video, and until the next time, bye.